This is going to be a video on how to create this side glass surface here. Here you're seeing the final result on this model. This is my model, and as you can see, this is the surface, and it's already trimmed by these curves I have here in the side. So this is the final process when you have the surface. I'm gonna trim it. So you can see how this is a square surface, feed it to the scan, and then I will use these two curves to project it and trim it away. Okay, so this is how it looks in side view, and as you can see, we have to respect and trying to get this edge as similar as possible to the curvature we have in the side glass here, and here in the bottom we have to create this kind of shape here, so we then can blend this area better. So this is not just one way to do the surface. You can do the surface as the ones you've done in the roof. So you create kind of a plane with a very low CVs, and then you go increasing the CVs to try to manually shape the roof to the line of the scan. So you can do the same for the side glass, but I'm going to explain another method here. So I'm going to get rid of my, I'm going to hide it, and I'm going to take my curves and hide them too. Okay, so let's go to side view quickly here. I'm going to turn my curvature plot on with a little bit of transparency here so we can see through, and I'm going to draw some curves here. Okay, so first I'm going to do a 1 degree curve, I think, from here to here, and then gradually I'm going to increase the degree. Let's say 2. I'm going to use my CV move tool to move my points around, take this up, and I'm trying to get the shape of the side glass, so maybe I'll need a little bit more geometry so I can shape this like this. So let's take it down. As you can see, I'm getting into the blue area here. This is going to be a more an area with more curvature. So I'm trying to be inside my green area here, but you can go a little bit up with this, so my surface can go inside this blue area here. So then when we trim, we will trim my surface like this with this curve, and then with a curve similar to this edge here, so we can take our surface a little bit beyond the limits. Okay, so let's start with this one, and then I'm gonna duplicate this object with my duplicate edit here, set to 1, go, and I'm gonna move it down to, let's say, something like this. Okay, and now what we have is two curves inside view here, and what I try to do is now project these curves into the mesh. So this is another projection tool. It's not the normal regular projection tool. This is directly project curves onto mesh, and you will find this tool under the mesh palette here. So I already have it in the shelf, so I'm gonna click it and select mesh to project onto this one, spacebar, and then select these two curves and project into the mesh in the view that we are in. Okay, so what we get is this. Let's turn the shade mode so you can see better. And this is an area that we don't go to use, but it's okay to have it like that. And the next step is trying to create a fit curve. This is the tool here. You can find it here in the palette. Okay, so right now these are curves that has a lot of CVs. If we're trying to get the control zone, you will see that we have a lot of CVs, and if we put a curvature plot, it's going to be a mesh, and this is not usable. And but we can create a curve from this one that's going to be shaped in a better way. So click like this, and you will see that I have my degree to 5 and spans to 1, and it's creating this nice curve with one span and degree 5. So this is kind of cool, and this is a process we can create a really easy and fast, really nice curves from the mesh. I'm gonna do the same again for this one, and in this case I'm gonna be careful now to go in the blend here. So we can take this little blue arrow like this, a little bit backwards, and I'm gonna do the same here because we're getting into the blend. So I want to be more or less in the planar area of this surface here. So yeah, this can be improved a little bit. As you can see, we have right now the CVs are nice. Yep. So I'm gonna create now a surface um, between these two curves I've just created. So the simple way to do it is with the scan tool, and we select this, the fit curve, and then the other one, and we have surface there. We can play around with this. If you see that the result is strange, maybe extend here is okay. And now if I select this surface and turn the control zone, you will see that, well, this can be improved moving the series around, but to start with, this is nice. Okay, so we're getting something close to the mesh, but it probably is not into the deviation. So I'm going to take now my deviation with a deviation map set to 1, and I'm going to set my RAM to 4, and just pick the surface, and then I can just pick my mesh. Okay, so right now it seems to be green. Okay, so that's nice. I'm gonna delete the construction history on this surface, and I'm gonna just pick all the curves and hide them, so we only have the surface. And I'm gonna play around a little bit with my CV so I can arrange them a little bit better, as you can see with my slide tool, so we don't get off from the mesh, something like that. Okay, so that is irradiating kind of radio from a point maybe place here. So as you can see, okay, now I'm going to use another method to check how far we are from the mesh. So we pick objects, surface, and the mesh, and I'm going to apply the cross-section editor like this with in the X direction, so we can see that we are far away from the mesh, in this case here in the internal points, because this surface is too simple. Okay, so the way to go now is try to get up the degrees in this direction, so we can just use the CVs to pull them out, and we'll have better continuity with the surface here. Okay, with the mesh. Okay, so let's take the degree of the surface to 3 here, and just 3, and click accept here at the bottom. So now I can take my holes, and with the move XYZ, I can take these two a little bit out so we can follow the shape of the scan. We can play around with the sensitivity here to be more accurate. Okay, so you can see here I can move this to inwards a little bit so I can follow the shape here. This is okay because then we're gonna be trimming our surface, so it will be something like this here, the curve. So this area is gonna be out, so we will try to get nice curvature in every part, but you know, this area is gonna be out, but you will have to shape your CVs anyway so they look okay. So, and here we are pretty close. Now I'm gonna check with my silver stripes if I'm getting I'm gonna take the transparency a little bit up so I can see through and check if my highlights are the same as the ones on the mesh. So now we're closer here. This is nice. And here we can play around a little bit so we can get closer to the section, so this highlight goes a little bit inwards and follows the shape a little bit better. So I can do the same here and just take it inwards. If we need a little bit more geometry here, instead of 5 we can go up, take this to 5.2, no sorry, to 6.7 if you need a little bit more control. I'm gonna take my deviation and it should go green. Yep. But you know, previously you see that this surface was already green, but we only have 1 degree in the middle in this direction. So although we have the green distance and everything is in deviation, we needed more geometry to make the highlights look the same as the ones on the mesh, because we needed to give it curvature in this direction instead of be planar, you know. So right now it's pretty close. Yeah, this will be the process for the surface, so we can get a little bit more in the details and improve the different areas, but right now it's looking really cool. And the last step on this surface will be projecting the curves I've talked about in the beginning, so we can get the final result for this surface. But before I do that, I'm gonna check finally the cross section on my surface. I'm gonna apply in the X direction, and I'm gonna check that I have my curvature graph on. This tick, if we untick it, we get rid of the curvature plot, so I'm gonna check it. And if I double click it here in this slider, you can say the curvature graph up or down to see the scale. So it's not it's not usually a good idea to take this too high, so you cannot read the plots and in any way. So you have to find the right scale for that. So yeah, so this is looking really nice. This is going to be the base then to build the blends from this. So right now it's looking good, and it's going to be one of the surfaces that we're going to be supporting to build this blend too. So yeah, you may be probably in the future you have to make a little bit of tweaking if you don't get the blends right, but for now it's looking good. We have proper highlights too, so maybe refine them in this area as we've done, and here they're looking good too. So I'm gonna get rid of the sections, and finally I'm gonna go to side view, and as you can see we have my curves were this, so we can take the stain tool and take the surface up a little bit. So we can get the surface inside my curves, but or the other way around is just let's say take this back again. We can go and shape this curve a little bit down so everything is inside the surface. As you can see in this area, if we trim, the surface goes beyond a little bit, so we get this piece inside the surface. Or as I've done, I can go and extend the surface this way, for example, a little bit. So my curve is inside the surface. And here I will have to do the same, extend it a little bit. So if I do that, if I do this, probably I will have to go to my sections again and verify that everything is inside tolerance, and we are getting nearer the sections again. So as we have moved a little bit the geometry, maybe we have a little bit of deviation. So we'll have to manipulate the civets around again. So in this case, or just draw different curves so everything is in place. I'm trying to draw this curve similar to the shape of the blend and the shape of the roof. So then the blend is built from there, and the size of the surface are similar. This is going to be very useful for construction the plans later. So yeah, the last thing you will have to do will be to project, let's say, project onto this surface these curves, right? Once we have that, if I take my surface and just set it, I can pick my trim and select the inner area here and press OK, and we have this surface. I'm going to take again my sections, so this will be the starting point of the blend here. So it's better if you do the trimming to see the piece that you're working from, and here is the same. The blend will be something like this. So as this is an exercise, you don't have to draw these curves the same as I've done. You can try and play around and practice and experiment with the different results you can get if you draw this curve a little bit down here, or maybe take this up a little bit. So yeah, this is an overview on how to do this surface, and as I said, you can build it different ways, but I think this is a quick way to do it. But you can go and experiment other ways to build the surface from. So I hope you find it useful, and see you in the next video.